The Governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, says state governments are ready to support the federal government in the elimination of fuel subsidy regime. He gave the assurance in Abuja at the presentation of the World Bank Nigeria Development Update, November 2021 edition, titled Time for Business Unusual.
So this hullabaloo about petrol is just something that we must, as a country, have a conversation and agree that it has to end. We cannot continue to provide petroleum gasoline to our neighboring countries, which is what we are doing. Why are we doing this? For whom are we doing it? Who is the beneficiary? Which is the cabal that is the beneficiary of this? And why should they hold the country to ransom and bankrupt the Nigerian economy? Right now, we are losing 250 billion naira a month, and this has to end. As state governments, we are committed to supporting the federal government on this compact. We will do our bit to engage with all stakeholders and put the facts on the table so that everyone understands the danger the country is in if this subsidy continues, as well as the benefits that can accrue not only to the budgets of the states and their capacity to deliver social services, but also what will go directly into the pockets of the poorest Nigerians that will bear the brunt of any withdrawal of subsidy. This is the position of the state government, and we met just a few days ago to take this position.
World Bank lead economist for Nigeria and co-author of the report said that in 2022, the federal government plans to spend about 3,000 naira per person for health, while the cost of the petrol subsidy for 2022 could reach 13,000 naira per person.
On the reducing inflation side, a critical priority will be to enhance the flexibility and the predictability of the exchange rate. In order to address fiscal pressure, no surprise, we see the elimination of the PMS subsidy with adequate measures to protect the poor as a critical policy option. To catalyze private investment and boost job creation, the importance of deepening power sector reforms that are underway, and they could be accelerated for greater impact. And on protecting the poor, the implementation of a large-scale cash conditional transfer, very much aligned to what the Honorable Minister has just highlighted before this presentation, to mitigate not only the impacts of a potential removal of the PMS subsidy, but also to help Nigerians cope with the high prices that are happening as a result of inflation. So we have here the priorities that we see for the next 3 to 6 months with the specific options.
Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, said the federal government was working to cushion the impact of the complete elimination of fuel subsidies on Nigerians ahead of the target date of mid-2022.
We are working with partners on measures to cushion potential negative impact of the removal of the subsidies on the most vulnerable at the bottom of the pyramid, at least 40% of the population. One of such measures would be to institute a monthly transport subsidy in the form of cash transfer of 5,000 naira to between 30 to 40 million deserving Nigerians. We do agree that with the report that the expansion of the social protection policies during the pandemic, the government had an opportunity to phase out subsidies, such as the PMS subsidy, while utilizing cash transfers to safeguard the welfare of the people. Towards this end, we intend to accelerate structural reforms, particularly in the power sector, in governance, in business environment, and to unlock the huge potentials that exist in our economy. We need to continue to look at how we can scale up and actually implement the scale up of the social safety nets, and also deepen financial inclusion to reduce poverty and inequality.
Group Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, said subsidy would have been eliminated in 2020, but certain factors prevented it.
When you see prices of 162 that we're selling at pump, and against their cost, we are going to just full cost recover to be around 297 naira to the liter today. And this is also, mind you, we have raised issues around the FX regime. That's at FX rate of 411 naira to the naira. That is not the INE window. So even if you take it at that basic level, what you're dealing with is about 243 billion naira of fuel subsidies every month. Anyone can take his telephone and compute this. And the provisions of the law is such that by end of February, that we should be out of the subsidy regime. That is what the Honorable Minister is referring to, and there will be no provision for that legally in our system. But I'm sure also will appreciate that government has a bigger social responsibility to cater for the ordinary, and therefore an engagement and a process that will make sure that we exist this much in the most subtle and most easy manner is probably the best. And
World Bank Country Director for Nigeria said even though the report shows that Nigeria economy exited a pandemic-induced recession, several challenges persist, including double-digit inflation, declining incomes, and rising insecurity.
In this particular issue, I think what you will sense is a degree of urgency that the window of opportunity for Nigeria to capitalize on that potential may be shrinking. And so therefore we're talking, the basic message you will hear is about the urgency of action now. And in order for that action to be taken, obviously there needs to be a consensus. And ultimately the choice will be Nigeria's choice. I hope that you will take that in that spirit. These are facts based on most Nigerian data sources, and where possible, we've brought in the international experience just to put things in a cross-country perspective.
According to him, the insufficient supply of foreign exchange issues related to the predictability of exchange rate management, the unsustainable subsidy on petrol, burdensome trade restrictions, and the sizable fiscal deficit financing by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, are undermining the business environment.